good morning to you on this Monday, March 18th. Thank you for waking up early and joining us for another Morning Barbados presentation.
Barbados, get up.
Your way
Good
live.
morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning.
Good
morning to you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, Barbados. Good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Cornelius Bartlett, who is a family advocate, founder and chairman of Family Fest Barbados, and he's going to be in with Dr. Janelle Chase Mears, founder and CEO of Reinventing Wellbeing Consultancy, mental health consultant, and we're looking at mental health and the family. Very, very important at this time. Very, very timely, I will say. Also, the Karanis Club of Barbados, the benevolent poetry competition, is coming up, and we're doubling up on the poetry as well, because we have one of the very interesting spoken word artists who will be a part of poetry coming up for World Poetry Day. Poetry in the competition, the actual show, is going to be on World Poetry Day at Cricket Legends, so they're going to be here too to share with us about a little bit about their background. Plus, we're looking at World Meteorological Day 2024, the theme of which is at the forefront of, or at the front line of climate action. What does that mean? Usually we call a lot of words to do with climate change and this, that, and the other. But what does it mean in real time, real terms for us here in Barbados, in what they call a water scarce part of the world and a small island developing state? So we most certainly will be bringing that home for you as we start that discussion with Raquel Davis and Nkosi Mounter Tate of the Met Office. They're going to share with us. Plus, we are going to continue, as I told you, with Enrico Suave. He's going to be in to do a little performance. And we have some fun stuff from the social media as we look at road tennis as it travels across the world. How about that? So some interesting stuff coming up here on Morning Barbados today. And we're hoping that you can stick around for it. All of you who are part of the Morning Barbados WhatsApp chat group, a special good morning to you as well for always supporting Morning Barbados. We're going to start, though, speaking with the lecturer in French, Deputy Dean Outreach and at the Faculty of Humanities and Education. Terence Innes joins us this morning, and he's happy to be able to get up early and make the trek from St. Philip down to Wildey to share with us. Good morning and welcome.
Well, thank you for having us this morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about the faculty. I know that you have Open Week coming up as you celebrate, but let's talk a little bit about the faculty itself.
Okay. Well, you know, it is a mother of all faculties, the Faculty of Humanities and Education. And as you know, the humanities is there because it helps us understand who we are as a people. It helps us to relate better to each other. And it helps us to understand all the intricacies in dealing with human beings. So the humanities has a lot to offer to the world. And as you know, the University of the West Indies is a first-class university. What we do in the humanities, we have departments of language, linguistics, and literature, where we focus on literatures in English, linguistics, modern languages, French, Spanish, Chinese, and sign language. We also have the Department of History and Philosophy, which speaks to itself, history and philosophy. The School of Education, which focuses on education and psychology. And of course, we have Codgerton College, where we focus on theology. So we do quite a bit at the University of the West Indies in the Faculty of Humanities and Education.
Let's talk about how the faculty has changed over time to suit the changing times. Because I heard you just a moment ago talk about sign language being noticed or treated as one of the languages as well. Not so long ago, it was very difficult to even be able to find a class to teach that, far less having the university treat it in this manner.
Yeah, well, the university has transformed over the last 60 years to the point where we are really at the top of our game in every discipline that we undertake. The issue of sign language came about because we have introduced at CAFIL, University of the West Indies, a language policy which requires all our students who haven't had a certification in a foreign language to do a foreign language. And so we have introduced, on top of the traditional French and Spanish, we have introduced sign language. We have a Chinese program, and hopefully our Portuguese program will come back on board very shortly. So we're doing quite a bit in terms of not only teaching, in terms of our research, in terms of embracing technology and all aspects of modern education.
Our world is becoming smaller,
Indeed.
obviously because of the way we're able to move around the globe, but most significantly because of the advancements in technology. So I would imagine that was one of the driving forces behind really instituting that students must have another language behind them. Talk to us about the drive behind that and how it's been going, the type of student you're hoping to be able to prepare for the world scene.
Well, we are trying to prepare at the university and in the Faculty of Humanities a well-rounded student, a global student, one who has the appeal for the international community. And I want to cite an example for our students, say for example, who are doing international business French. We expect that when they've completed that program, they can go and work in any business internationally and sell that product or service in French, Spanish, or whatever the case may be. So we are creating that global international student for the world.
Is there a specific type of student whom you find would be gravitating more to humanities?
I don't think there's a particular type. We take everyone and we mold them and we bring them in and we make them humanities students. So it is not a particular student we are looking for. We appreciate all varieties and all talents in the humanities.
Are there any things that people might be surprised to learn about the faculty through the years?
Surprised to learn? I don't think there are any major surprises, but I think our program speaks for itself. Sorry, speaks for itself, and it makes our students want to come back.
All right, let's talk about the Education Open, and it's always interesting to see it called Taster Week.
Taster Week.
So tell us what's behind the name. I think back in my day it used to be Freshers Week. Well, no, that was coming into school, but this is sharing more about the faculty.
Right, each faculty at campus, this semester, will be having an open week where we want to let the public and the world know what we are doing, in this case in the humanities, in our different programs. So we have organized a whole set of activities. And one of the activities is Taster Week. What is Taster Week? We want you to come into our university, to our classes, to see what we have and to see what we do, to see what we teach in our classes. So we're having Taster Week, and for example, on Tuesday, if I may look at my notes, we're inviting you into a class in Creole linguistics. I'm inviting the public to my French class. We are also inviting the public to African Wisdom class, a class which is taught by the Dean, Professor Oshien. All right. We also have Language, Gender, and Society on Wednesday, and we also have Literatures on Thursday. All right, we are opening for Francophonie Day is on Wednesday, and Francophonie Day is that day where we celebrate the French culture and promote civilization in France, etc. So our students will be there to promote that day. We're inviting the secondary schools, those who are doing the CAPE program, to come and join us at CAFIL on Francophonie Day. We also have World Poetry Day, which I heard you spoke about in your introduction. The Department of Language, Linguistics and Literature, in Literature and English, they'll be celebrating that day on Friday this week. Also, as part of our open week, we are launching the Psychology Students Association. And this is a new students association in the discipline of psychology, and they'll be there to promote psychology. And on Friday morning, we have psychology in the community in Bridgetown, where our students, groups of students, will be at different monuments in Hero Square, the new monument, and then the Freedom Park, and they will engage the public, in their programs and aspects of psychology. All right?
That's a lot to happen in the space of 1 week. Is it usually difficult to get the students engaged to be able to go out in this way and share in the communities? Because it sounds like you're inviting members of the general public to come out and support, but it will call for a lot of student and faculty engagement too.
Yes, and that is one of the Open Week's objectives this year, to embrace our students, because our students are the ones who are going to sell our program. We can come and we can talk about our programs, but the students who have the first-class experience in our classrooms are the ones who are going to come and sell the program. And they've really come aboard this year and last year in getting the message out that the Faculty of Humanities is open and ready for business. So they're very keen on our projects.
That's truly excellent. Let's talk a little bit about, that psychology in the environment. You're taking it into Bridgetown. What are some of the areas that you will be looking at, or how will you be seeking to engage with the public?
Right. So we will be using our academic staff and our students to speak to matters pertaining to psychology. And they'll be coming on Mornin Barbados, I think, sometime during this week to further explain what they will be doing in that area.
All right, good stuff. We're going to take a break here, and when we come back, maybe we can press the Deputy Dean to find out a little bit more. I know sometimes as parents, we want to be able to help guide our students in the direction that they might want to go. So we're going to talk some more about how humanities is staying relevant for the years ahead. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Morning Barbados is on the move, and we're coming to you every weekday morning from right here at the Standard Showroom in Wildey. Now, together, we're giving you an opportunity to win. All you have to do is submit a photo of that room that you want to see changed in a fantastic way. And the interior design curator here at Standard and all of their experts are going to get together and select the room that needs the most work. It just might be yours. All you have to do is submit your photo to info@standard.bb, and you could be here with us saying, "Morning Barbados, look at my beautiful space."
Morning to you.
Tune in to CBC Newsnight for the NISS Business Report, a comprehensive look at the local, regional, and international business world every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday during CBC Newsnight. Brought to you by the National Insurance and Social Security Service. More than a contribution, it's your lifeline.
Every day at 7 p.m., we bring you a comprehensive news package because keeping you informed is our #1 priority. Whether it's local, regional, or international stories, our commitment is to you and keeping you reliably informed. Join us every day at 7 p.m. for CBC Newsnight.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
All right, welcome back. So we're here still with Terence Innes, who is lecturer in French and Deputy Dean Outreach in the Faculty of Humanities and Education. And of course, I wanted to delve a little deeper into the faculty itself and the areas of study. If only because we're getting ready for CXCs and lots of students are going to be kind of preparing to move into tertiary education and things like that. And sometimes it can be a little difficult for them to choose. I think it's difficult that they have to choose so early. Me, I was never one to be able to really choose, so I can totally understand. But let's talk a little bit about the importance of studying humanities in today's society.
Right. As I said earlier, the humanities helps us to understand who we are as a people, how we relate to each other, what it is to be a human being in our society. And those are, in my opinion, 3 fundamentals of what a humanities education is all about. It helps us to understand through our critical analysis, whether we're doing literatures in English, French, whatever the case may be. It helps us to understand who we are as a people. And to go back to your point about students and being prepared for tertiary education, we recognize it is not an easy thing to start right away. And for example, this week on Thursday, we're having a virtual session for parents and students where they can come online and engage members of faculty, the deans, the heads of department about the programs that are offered in our department and our faculty, and answer any questions that they may ask, any queries they might have on the university itself, how we admit students, what is required for students to get into our programs. So on Thursday evening, we are having that virtual session from 5 until 7, and that information is on our website.
What are some of the career opportunities that you've seen students of humanities move into?
Oh, a variety. And I'm not going to use French as the example, but apart from journalism, for example, interpreting, in the area of teaching, obviously, we have, when our colleagues come to you this week in linguistics, they're going to tell you a lot of interesting careers that people have been pursuing in the area of linguistics. Psychology speaks for itself, theology speaks for itself. In the Department of History, we have a whole gamut of things that students are involved in, and in terms of research, in terms of tour guiding. So humanities is really relevant to what we're doing right now in this country and where we want our people to go.
Let's talk a little bit too about, because a lot of people talk about how the study of humanities really can be incorporated into other areas of study as well. So let's talk about the versatility there.
Yeah. Say, for example, languages. I would always encourage students to do languages, but mix your language with another discipline. For example, international business, international tourism, marketing, management. We also have a program in mass communications that we encourage students as well to link it to other areas so that you're not limited in scope. So we're doing quite a bit in terms of creating programs with minors in other disciplines to make students to make it more appealing for students and attractive for them later on in life.
I'm glad you talked about linking it with something else. As Deputy Dean, when you look at this world, and obviously, you know, you're a guru at French because you're a French lecturer as well. How important is it for students to kind of structure their tentacles, so to speak, and be able to be worldwide citizens and be able to do exactly what we're talking about when we talk about the study of humanities? Incorporate certain areas of study into different areas of business.
Right, the world is changing rapidly, and no longer are we living in a society where people are expecting to fit into a box and stay there. Students, for example, go far. We have students, again, in French who end up in France teaching, for example. They end up doing other things in the society. We had a student, for example, who was an observer for the OAS in a country because of his or her language skills. So it is extremely important for students, to see themselves as the world citizen and not limiting themselves to one particular area.
All right, that's absolutely beautiful. Again, I want to thank you for coming in and sharing more with us about the Faculty of Humanities and Education, because sometimes, particularly the way how things have gone now, where you have to kind of jump online to be able to sign up and select what you want, it's really great to be able to tax your brain, for students to hear a little bit more, for parents to be able to maybe, you know, think about things that they've thought about and don't necessarily have a body on the next end to answer right away. Is that something you're open to, though? Or, well, I would imagine, you know, you're going to push or press for parents, since you have this open week coming up, to come down and ask all those questions that they might have.
And university is open for anyone, and they can call the admin department, our faculty, and in our open day session, our virtual session on Thursday, we will share all that information with them.
All right, so let's run down what's happening once again. So I'm going to let you open that big, thick folder.
So thank you, Tisha.
Once again,
so today we are having, I'm here on Mornin Barbados as the first person.
I am so happy that all of a sudden, you know, we are listed as the thing to do on the calendar of events. I love
because you reach out to people.
Yes.
And this is very important. And today we have the launch of the Psychology Students Association. Tomorrow we begin our class times in the humanities, the taster sessions in Creole linguistics, African wisdom, and French. Wednesday we have Francophone Day. And then we have class time again, taster sessions in language, gender, and sex. On Thursday, we are back here on Mornin Barbados, and we are having our virtual session for potential graduates and undergraduates, postgraduate and undergraduate program. And on Thursday, we are also having a World Poetry Day with our colleagues. We'll be joining them in literature and English. And on Friday, we'll be having psychology in the community. And Tricia, before you go, yes? We'll be having a public lecture, Education Transformation, Where to Begin by Dr. Laureate Bristol. And that will be in April, but it's part of our open week.
All right, that's excellent. When I think of Creole linguistics, you know, my mind is going directly to maybe French and the influence of the French on certain territories in the Caribbean. But are you looking at different areas as well, Haiti and French, for example?
Yes.
Haiti and
exactly.
St. Lucia, for example?
Right. And our colleagues, when they come in linguistics, Dr. Dawkins, she will explore that further with you on Wednesday.
Maybe one of these days we'll be looking at dialect in that same way. Look forward to that one too. But I definitely will come out to the faculty and take in some of this throughout this week. So we want to thank you so much, Deputy Dean Terrence Innes, for sharing with us this morning.
And thank you for having us.
All right.
Come over to the university.
Absolutely. We're going to take a break here and come on back. So some great information for you to share with your little ones, or maybe even for you. It's never too late to try something new. And as you heard, humanities can be readily and easily integrated into different career paths and everything else you're doing. So consider humanities today. How about that? All right, we're going to take a break and come on back here on Morning Barbados. Coming up next, we're looking at family matters, and Cornelius Bartlett is going to be in, and he's brought along a familiar face. We are talking mental health. That's next.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb. From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
School sports is in full swing as the athletes are gearing up for the 2024 Powerade Dasani BSAT Championships. Tune into CBC Sports Night with me, Anmar Goodrich Boyce, this and every Tuesday and Thursday for Athlete in the Spotlight. Sponsored by Powerade. Pause is power, and Dasani. Live first, Dasani after.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Welcome back to today's presentation of Morning Barbados. If only you could see behind the scenes, you'd be so much happier. It's good to have you in company, though, as the sun comes up on this Monday morning. I'm a little hoarse. Yeah, not a pony. course. Get it? I'm always saying, laugh at my jokes, fellas. At least Peter, they're saying no, you know. They're horrible. They're horrible. No, they're great. They're great. They say I'm corny. But tell you what, starting next week, I'm coming back with my joke of the day. How about that? They will love it. Do I hear boos? Come on, guys. No, they love my jokes. Yeah? And that's all a part of staying happy in the workplace. And that's why I wanted to go there. It's about staying happy in your family as well. So we've been talking with Cornelius Bartlett. And he has quite a few titles. He's family advocate, founder and chairman of Family Fest Barbados. And we've been talking with him about various things, about how we can keep the family strong and thriving. And one important area that we really have to address is mental health within the context of the family. So he's brought in some great backup. Dr. Janelle Chase-Mears, founder and CEO of Reengineering Wellbeing Consultancy. It's a mental health consultant and so much more. So good morning to both of you and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning, Barbados.
And I see that Janelle brought up the entire bookshelf here for us, here on this side. So, I mean, we are here for it. I'm ready for it. Let's talk about the relevance of addressing mental health or mental health generally in the family context, because we usually don't address a lot of things. So it might be present, but addressing it. Starting with you, Cornelius.
Yeah, but first of all, thank you. And this is a very special topic for me. And I'm not going to attempt to address the clinical elements of it. That's what Janelle is here for. But what I would say is that mental health is a massive concern because families are being destroyed and put under extreme and tremendous pressure every day because of issues of mental health. You find that whatever you're ignorant about, you tend to abuse or mismanage. And mental health for sure is one of those things. And when we talk about mental health, and one of the things that is unfortunate is that in Barbados, as soon as we hear the word mental, people start to panic and start thinking about mad and so on. But I'm not going to get involved in that. The part of it that I'm extremely interested in is what can we do to save our families, not only in terms of breakup, but in terms of the wars and the turmoil and the stress that is involved in family life.
I think we've kind of been mixing matters, and you can tell me, Janelle, if there's a difference in the way we should look at it, which I think we should.
Yeah.
I think that we confuse a lot of the times when we talk about mental health,
Yeah.
we automatically think mental illness.
Absolutely.
And that's a challenge for me. A lot of the times I feel the need to kind of correct people. When we start speaking about being mentally healthy,
Yeah.
they go straight to mental illness.
Yeah.
And that can be one of the challenges that continues to fuel the stigma and discrimination that we see, yes?
Yeah, so there are a couple of layers that I want to address, and that's exactly, it's like, what's the definition of mental health? What's the definition of having a mental challenge? What's the definition of having mental illness and the pathology of mental illness? I think one of the things is, if we just look at what mental health is the psychological well-being of an individual, the way how they think, feel, and act. But we have to add layers as well to it, the way how they sleep, the way how they eat, the way how they move. All of those things play a pivotal role in making sure that somebody's mental health, and I add on well-being, is optimized or optimal. So if we think about it in terms of the family, when we don't do those things, when we don't teach people how to manage their emotions, to regulate their emotions, when we don't teach people that they need to get off the computer screen at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, that impacts the way in which they see and view the world. Our mental health can start to decline, or it can actually start to create spaces where we can have illness enter into the space. You think about it as a continuum. So if we're trying to improve the family's mental health, we have to look at what we want them to do well initially. And a lot of people don't think about what they want to do well initially. We do it for our physical health too. We would rather get sick and then somebody have to teach us how to take care of our bodies. And we do it our mental health. We often get sick when we see something and then we're like, okay, well, I need to fix this. I think part of it is if we start to have a larger conversation, rightly as you said, to create the different shifts in the languages, then people know, okay, am I working on my mental health? Am I having a challenge today? You know, is this going into illness, and do we need to pay more attention to it? I think people get a better understanding of that, then they actually know what they need to do.
Now, usually, you know, I'm of the opinion I don't need to start every interview at the very beginning. What does mental health mean? I mean, sometimes we take for granted that, or we want to feel that people at least understand the basics. Yeah. But in this instance, I think it's really, really important to go back to basics, to start at the beginning, because, and this happened with me, you know, going through counseling with a family member, a young man, and he was very upset, very angry, and where the counselor started is somewhere that I never saw it. I did not see it coming, where she talked about emotions. So she started with emotions, and what she highlighted is that a lot of younger people don't necessarily understand emotions. So everything makes them angry. So, you know, she's saying, but, you know, how does this make you feel? Angry. How does this make you feel? Angry. So you get that level of contention at all times and so on. So, you know, where do we need to take it? Because I remember as a child, and this will speak to a certain age group, where we had things like Sesame Street, for example, that would say happy, sad, and we took for granted that we knew these things. But is it possible that some of the challenges we're seeing is because we need to go back to basics in terms of even understanding what emotions are, how we express them when we feel them, and what reactions certain things should warrant as opposed to others based on emotional responses?
I think you're hitting the nail on the head, and that's something that I advocate generally about life. We deal too much with discussing symptoms. If you look at our society, for example, most things are discussed based on symptoms. And you see in terms of the emotional health that we're talking about, I don't think that as human beings, and we all came from families, we're mindful enough. I'm going to give you an example. As Janelle was speaking just now about the way you think and the way you act as part of what manifests to give you the indication of a person's mental health. And I'm going to say something right now on national television that a lot of people may be vexed with me for saying. You see, for example, persons who practice watching pornography, for example, pornography actually helps to destroy your mental health, you know. There are men out there, for example, who feel inferior about the size of their penis, for example, because pornography is one of the areas that pushes a particular way of behaving, a particular size of this, and a particular way of doing this and that. And there are lots of people who probably carrying on now hear me say this, that pornography is one of the things that will help to destroy your mental health, because it can actually add to lowering a man's self-esteem. And women as well too, who think that they can't perform the things that they project on the screen. So this topic, or this issue of mental health, is an extremely serious one, but the triggers and the causes of mental health issues, the way you feel, is more subliminal than we would ever think. I don't think that human beings are mindful enough, not even a quarter or half as mindful enough as we should be. So therefore, you go along like innocent lambs to the slaughter, and you find that marriages that shouldn't be destroyed are being destroyed. Children are thinking about suicide that shouldn't be thinking about suicide. People are hitting drugs that shouldn't be hitting drugs, because we are not mindful enough, not only for ourselves, but for each other.
All right, Janelle, I want to rope you into this conversation and take it back to emotions that we're talking about. Because again, if children, even if grown-ups, if grown people don't understand their emotions and how they are to react based on, if everything is anger and everything is shouting and you kill every ant you pass with a sledgehammer, then that's one of those things that can help to erode the relationships.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest points when we're having that conversation about our emotions is the leadership of emotions. So if you have individuals who are leading families and they're not aware about the things that matter, so food impacts your emotions, your gut microbiome impacts your emotions. Also, who taught you where and what about the emotion is also important. So we grow up in households and families that are descendants of slaves. And so ultimately, I always tell people when slavery ended, nobody get therapy. Slave masters didn't get therapy, families didn't get therapy. So whatever system was working at the end of that is what people took, and what they tried to do as best as they could is what they continued. So we have a lot of deficits where people actually learn how to relate to each other, to connect to each other, to have meaningful conversations. Sometimes the only meaningful conversation was putting food on the table or being able to survive what was happening. So when we have families who don't have that knowledge, right, we're going to have challenges. And my thing about it is, I don't like to go down a blame road. You can't lead where you don't know. And a lot of people are leading families with misinformation or no information at all. And so what ends up happening is then when you're trying to have a cohesive family unit, it is going to be hard. We have situations where if families are broken apart or if people are disengaged with each other, we often don't think about what are the things that creates that lack of cohesion. And those things are historical, you know. All of us have grandparents who got enough children outside women, you know. There's so many elements that we hardly discuss that will impact our well-being, will impact our mental health, will create steps to ill health, right? Pathology and the way in which we're seeing the world. And if we don't have that as, I won't say larger conversations, if we don't have that as educational teachings and learnings, because we don't always learn in crisis. And that's most of the time when people try to improve their mental well-being, is when they're in crisis. And sometimes that takes a real long time for the physiological body to stabilize in order for you to actually hear what is being said.
It's true. I hear people talking about, see the value in the valley and things like that all the time. But as you mentioned, it's so difficult when you're going through it to say, okay, there's something greater that is to come of this. How do we move past, first of all, the issue of not addressing it? I'd like to hear from your perspective, and I know that you usually bring a Christian type perspective as well. So not even addressing issues in the family. So you might recognize there's something different about a family member, and everybody kind of, as we would say in Bajan parlance, whizzing in the corner. You know, a little bit of side eye. Or you might recognize, you know, your younger child is coming in and they're not necessarily engaging in the way you would like. A parent seems on edge more often than not. These are things that kind of fester. People don't necessarily openly address them. So how do we move to that place?
Okay, first of all, I would want to make a general statement, and then we're going to drill in. You cannot lift yourself up in the bucket in which you're standing. You cannot lift yourself up in the bucket in which you're standing. The first thing that is required is for us to step out of the bucket that we're in. Because the bucket of trauma, dysfunction that we're standing in, we think that we're fine. I'm doing fine. I'm earning a good salary and all that. And I'm doing well. When you step out of the bucket, then you have people like Dr. Chase Mears here, for example, who does good work. People like Tony Olton, for example, from EQ Barbados, where you get to study emotions and become more emotionally intelligent. You have church, for example, which will teach you values that you may not think about normally, and perspectives and way of seeing yourself and seeing life. The heart and soul of what I would want to leave with people in terms of what do we do, where do we go, is we need to stop and step out of that bucket. Because I watch families being destroyed. I watch people going on drugs, young people going on drugs, and girls trying to get attention, and they're promiscuous, and all of these things. And I'm glad Janelle mentioned also about the whole issue of slavery. And you look at the whole village ram syndrome, which came out of the whole idea of men being used to produce slaves and stuff like that. This is so complex. But the one thing I would want to leave in terms of this question is we need to stop and step out of the bucket. And then we can look at that bucket and see the amount of trauma, the amount of dysfunction, the amount of disconnect that we have, and then we can start to lead our families. Because at the end of the day, if we have a family where you have a woman, a man, and children, it is not the children's job to lead. It's your job to lead as a parent.
Okay. When we talk about this disconnect, Is it still being fueled? We've seen quite a few strides in the last few years where it comes to people addressing or even admitting mental illness or mental health challenges. Yet there's stigma and discrimination. And I often remember I was doing a story some years ago on the halfway house at the mental hospital. And one of the guys who was there said to me, I was my mother's best child. And when I got ill, I became my mother's worst child. And that has always stayed with me. So what do we do to try to at least identify and help relatives who might not be in a state of mental illness, but who are having challenges with their mental health?
Well, I kind of want to push back a little bit on the word stigma and discrimination, because I think we've come really far even to have this conversation, and I've not been on here, this is not my first time, but this is not my first year, you know what I mean? So I think we've been pushing the envelope to regularize these conversations. And if you hear the generation that's coming up, you know, I don't know if it's millennials, Gen Zs, I don't pay attention to that, but the ones that are in their early 20s, they're very language savvy and they're very willing to share what's happening with them. It's whether or not people are willing to listen and start understanding that these things really do matter. So I always push back on the word stigma, because if that's the case, why are we still why are we having a conversation acting like if nothing is being done? Things are being done. Now, one of the things that I could tell you, working in this field for over 20 years, family members are also very happy when people start to get help, when they start to get assistance. And for them, it's not shame, because they actually want the help. They actually want to make sure that that person, like the example that you gave, that she may not understand that what's going on, but she wants him to get help. And I think sometimes we have to punctuate that, so people feel more comfortable sharing with each other of how they were able to do that, who they were able to go to, what were some of the steps that they took to actually help this particular situation that was happening. If we keep using the word stigma and discrimination, that's actually what you get. The power's in the tongue. And sometimes we're speaking those things into people's being when all of us have had an alcoholic uncle, alcoholic aunt, abusive, somebody in the family was abusive, some type of incest, molestation. This is common to the Caribbean society. This is nothing that, like, but whether or not people are willing to have a conversation also influences how people are actually going to start to heal. And I think you can hear that with the younger generation who are willing to have the conversation. Sometimes they start with it, you know, I suffering, girl, I struggle with anxiety. That's how they speak. They don't even call, like, today was a really bad day, like, my anxiety got me. This is the language that they're using. So I think we have to start bridging a gap, start using different language to describe how we're advancing, so we can give more people permission to keep coming forward and having larger conversations.
All right, well, this time went by very, very quickly, and this usually happens where you truly need to have bigger conversations.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'd like for us to continue with this as we move forward, but definitely it's been great having you here, Dr. Janelle Chase Mears, and mental health is definitely something that we need to keep in focus, and it's great that we are trying to look at it in the context of family. We started with family as in traditional family, but if we think about family as in work, family as in school,
absolutely,
family as in your peers, your community, that's also very important. So thank you again for coming in, Cornelius, and bringing Dr. Chase Mears. Look forward to seeing you guys back together.
For sure.
All right. So it's bright sunshine outside, and it's also raining. I guess that means the devil and the wife fighting for the cuckoo steak. Hey, so we're going to take another break and come on back on Morning Barbados. When we come back, we're talking Kiwanis. Stay with us. It's raining.
It's sunny.
And they're showing the sunshine.
Good morning to you.
School sports is in full swing as the athletes are gearing up for the 2024 Powerade Dasani BSAT Championships. Tune into CBC Sports Night with me, Anmar Goodrich Boyce, this and every Tuesday and Thursday for Athlete in the Spotlight. Sponsored by Powerade. Pause is power, and Dasani. Live first, Dasani after.
Every night, we bring you a complete look at the weather forecast because keeping you safe and informed is our top priority. The CBC Weather Report, brought to you by Ace H&B Hardware, the helpful hardware.
Morning Barbados is on the move, and we're coming to you every weekday morning from right here at the Standard Showroom in Wildey. Now, together, we're giving you an opportunity to win. All you have to do is submit a photo of that room that you want to see changed in a fantastic way. And the interior design curator here at Standard and all of their experts are going to get together and select the room that needs the most work. It just might be yours. All you have to do is submit your photo to info@standard.bb, and you could be here with us saying, "Morning Barbados, look at my beautiful space."
Morning to you.
Tune in to CBC Newsnight for the NISS Business Report, a comprehensive look at the local, regional, and international business world every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday during CBC Newsnight. Brought to you by the National Insurance and Social Security Service. More than a contribution, it's your lifeline.
Every day at 7 p.m., we bring you a comprehensive news package because keeping you informed is our number one priority. Whether it's local, regional, or international stories, our commitment is to you and keeping you reliably informed. Join us every day at 7 p.m. for CBC Newsnight.
The race is
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Oh, so it is raining outside, just a little bit. And I know how it gets sometimes when it's raining outside, so be careful as you move around the country. The brakes might not be holding the same way that you're accustomed to, so make sure you keep your distance as you drive. Keep the speed down, don't go too fast and things like that. Usually when it's raining in Barbados, we see a lot more fender benders, so make sure you take some time as you go across the country this morning. Now, Carrie Gooding is president and Marcia Gittins is chairman of the Public Relations Committee of the Kiwanis Club of Barbados Benevolence. So good to have both of you with us today.
Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. And you're here to talk to us all about the Benevolence Poetry Slam. It's your poetry competition that's coming up. I'll start with you, Carrie. Tell us a little bit, first of all, about the club before we get into the actual poetry competition.
Okay, so Kiwanis Club of Barbados Benevolence is actually 3 years old, and we have about 30 members at present. Our main thing is feeding the minds, feeding people. So we do feeding of the homeless every last Sunday of the month in Jubilee Gardens in Bridgetown. We also have a theme for this year to put kids first. Kids being kindness, inspiration, development, and service. And so that's all we've been doing this year.
Oh, that's excellent. Good stuff. And I know that this type of work is really rewarding to be able to see people receiving whatever it is that you're doing. So talk to me about the Benevolence Poetry Slam and the importance of this event.
Okay, so this is our third year having this competition. The first 2 years we had exciting responses, and we're back again to get more persons involved. One is a membership drive. Is also to see persons to be able to see what we do, expose us to the community. It's also to encourage persons to write poetry, to have a deeper love for the art form and deeper appreciation. They also have an opportunity through participating to even learn more about different styles of writing poetry. So we also use it to showcase, because once the work is finished and with the permission of the writers, we put it on our Facebook pages, on our Instagram pages, and they also have an opportunity to be in our newsletter, which is shared with the district, which is Eastern Canada and the Caribbean. So they have great exposure.
Wow, that's truly beautiful. And I know this is an opportunity for you to engage with potential new members for the club as well, recruitment more or less.
Yes, please. So that's actually our first goal for the year, to grow by at least 2 members. There's a whole system called 2 for 2. And so over the past couple of years, when we were doing it, we would have actually grown by about 4 members, persons who came in through the Poetry Slam. So that's in keeping with what we're hoping for.
And I'm told that it is the brainchild of some of the members of the PR committee, and in celebration of World Poetry Day. So, you know, is this an area that's of interest to this particular part of the group? Is this why they suggested that you embrace poetry in this way?
Yes, because we thought it's a unique way. Like, persons are writing poetry, well, younger persons, because the competition is open for persons 7 years and older. So we know persons write poetry, write different kinds of short stories and stuff, and we thought, okay, we can give them a unique opportunity to expose what they do, their talents, and we're glad to do that.
Let's talk submissions. How do people get involved? I mean, we're pretty close to March 21st at this point.
Sure.
Okay, so we actually extended the deadline, so that's going to be announced, well, right now. So the deadline is being extended, and this is to give more persons the opportunity to get involved this year. So this year, instead of finishing on World Poetry Day, we're actually going to finish just before World Book Day, which is April 23rd. So that's when the winners will be announced, and their poems will be showcased on the 23rd, which would be the World Book Day. However, the new deadline will be April 19th. So as I said, it'll give more exposure to the persons, give people more time to get involved, and we have brought on a few more sponsors with us to get even more prizes for persons. So, yeah.
But on World Poetry Day, we're still going to showcase the work of previous entrants, because we would have had footage from our past competitions in the last 2 years. So we're going to give them even more coverage that they had before.
So I'm told that you had a fantastic response in 2022 and 2023. Talk to me about, you know, what that was like in terms of how you were able to work with those people who entered the competition and how it translated to membership.
Actually, in 2022, one of the persons who entered and placed third is actually one of our treasurer, Kay Rhonda.
Excellent.
So she entered, she learned about us actually through the competition, and now she's in a leadership role. So yeah.
That's truly excellent. Let's talk exactly what you need, how you can enter, and the specific areas that you're catering to.
Okay, so this year you can write a poem on benevolence. You can write a poem on to serve with love. We can also do an acrostic of Kiwanis. So just what does it mean to you? You can finish your poem with, and that's why I serve. I'm missing one.
Kids first.
And kids first. Yes. So that's our theme for the year. And so those are the 5 topics that you can write on this year. You just need to email in your entry, and the email address is
kcbenevolence@gmail.com.
So that's KCBenevolence.
KCBenevolence@gmail.com.
All right, that's simple enough. KCBenevolence@gmail.com.
And everything is on our social media as well.
Okay, that's beautiful. What about you, Marcia? You know, are you that involved with poetry as well, or have they kind of brought you along?
No, actually, I do write poetry for fun. I'm a literature student, and so I just had the
humanities.
Yes. So for fun, I do write poetry. I really like to write things that are a little romantic. Have a soft love spot, but I do.
All right. Yeah. I want to touch a little bit more on the Kids Initiative, which really is your theme for this year. Talk to me about what you've been able to do and why this particular theme. It says a great deal, and it seems like it's a very big reach.
So this one's my baby. And in the past, we would have done a lot more in terms of the adult category. And so this year, I wanted to put the focus on kids a lot more. So our main thing is kids need Kiwanis. And within these past 2 quarters, we were able to do a lot. We raised over $1,000 at our fundraiser at She Markets in December. And then we were able to use that money to do a bigger signature project in December as well. So for Christmas, when we did the feeding in Jubilee Gardens, we were able to add cake and great cake and sweet bread, and the homeless persons were really happy about this. But then we were able to also gift some of that to the Nightingale Children's Home. So that was like a big thing for us. Then we had a children's party on January 1st, and we did that in collaboration with Sharon Bellamy and Fishers of Men Charity, and it was like close to 400 children. We took care of the teens specifically because I feel like that's the age group that's always left out when you think about Christmas gifts. And so we bought gifts for the preteens and the teenagers, and like they had fun. It was like silly bands, I got them. They got like lip glosses. John Rowett also helped with donating some of the stuff. And then just last week, well, there are 2 World Book Days actually. So there's a World Book Day UK, which is on March 7th, and there's World Book Day April 23rd for the rest of the world. On March 7th, we made a poster and we took it to Belmont Primary School to help them launch their Readers Club. And so now they are the Belmont Bees, and they have Buzzington the Bee as their mascot for their reading club.
Oh, that's absolutely beautiful. It's great to hear the work that you're doing in the communities all across Barbados. But we want to encourage all poetry enthusiasts, writers, to be a part of this Benevolence Poetry Slam. And I'm happy to hear that you've extended the deadline to April 19th to get your entries in. And the announcement will be made on April 23rd, which is World Book Day, as you put it, Carrie, for the rest of the world.
Yes.
We know that England also have a Mother's Day for England. Then there's Mother's Day for the rest of the world.
They said they didn't want it to clash with Easter's. What's their thing?
Of course, of course, yes. So good morning to the British. But make sure you get in here and be a part of this competition, because I can see how it can, lead into a whole lot more. All right, so feel free to hone in on those themes. Tell us where we can go to find out more information. I heard you say that you're online as well.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Both Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah. So it'll be Kiwanis Club Barbados Benevolence, both Instagram and Facebook pages.
All right, so Kiwanis Club Barbados Benevolence.
Yes.
Go to the pages if you want to find out a little bit more information. And is there age limit?
From 7 and up.
7 and up.
Yep.
Yes.
So parents encourage children, children encourage parents.
So if you're 93, go right ahead.
I'm telling you.
All right, thank you girls both for coming in and sharing. Don't be strangers, because I'd love to hear more about what you're doing with this club. President Kerry Gooding is with us, and Chairman of the Public Relations Committee, Marcia Gittins. And of course, they've been sharing with us about the poetry competition that is coming up, and a whole lot more of what the Kiwanis Club of Barbados Benevolence is doing, all of their fantastic work. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for having us.
Wonderful. It's time for another break here on Morning Barbados. No more drizzles outside. Bright sunshine, but that's the way it works in our part of the woods. Yes, where we love to be. We're going to take another break. Like I told you, when we come back, a whole lot more, so do stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb. From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
School sports is in full swing as the athletes are gearing up for the 2024 Power Aid Dasani BSAT Championships. Tune into CBC Sports Night with me, Anmar Goodrich Boyce, this and every Tuesday and Thursday for Athlete in the Spotlight. Sponsored by Powerade. Pause is power, and the Sani. Live first, the Sani after.
Every night, we bring you a complete look at the weather forecast because keeping you safe and informed is our top priority. The CBC Weather Report, brought to you by Ace H&B Hardware, the helpful hardware.
Morning Barbados is on the move, and we're coming to you every weekday morning from right here at the Standard Showroom in Wildey. Now, together, we're giving you an opportunity to win. All you have to do is submit a photo of that room that you want to see changed in a fantastic way. And the interior design curator here at Standard and all of their experts are going to get together and select the room that needs the most work. It just might be yours. All you have to do is submit your photo to info@standard.bb, and you could be here with us saying, "Morning Barbados, look at my beautiful space."
Morning to you.
Tune in to CBC Newsnight for the NISS Business Report, a comprehensive look at the local, regional, and international business world every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday during CBC Newsnight. Brought to you by the National Insurance and Social Security Service. More than a contribution, it's your lifeline.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's 4 minutes after 7 o'clock and time for an update of the news. It's budget day in Barbados. Economists say they're not expecting any significant baskets of goods to be announced. They explain it's largely because of the targets set under the arrangements with the International Monetary Fund. CBC's Sharika Griffith reports.
March 18th is Budget Day in Barbados, and all eyes will be on the House of Assembly as Finance Minister and Prime Minister Mia Amour-Motley announces government's plans for the new financial year. But with Barbados operating under its second International Monetary Fund program since 2018, economist Professor Justin Robinson believes the target set under that program will limit the government's ability to provide any major relief.
Economic policy in Barbados is really anchored around achieving a debt to GDP ratio of 60% by 2032. And based on that, I don't expect any particularly generous giveaways or anything like that in the budget. I think because of that long-term anchor and meeting the targets in the IMF program, the fiscal space for the government is relatively limited.
Fellow economist Professor Don Marshall agrees with this assessment, particularly with an expected deficit of $251.9 million.
Which means that has to be picked up in taxes, fees, purchase of bonds, securities, a whole set of measures and borrowing in order to close that deficit. And we also have the other vexing challenge of addressing our $1.06 billion in debt.
Professor Marshall, however, believes citizens could see an adjustment in taxes, but not in ways that would prevent government from collecting the revenue required.
We may get some relief in key areas, probably reduction in gasoline prices and so on. That is to say, the rate that is applied, or we may see an adjustment to property taxes by way of reduction, or we may see some adjustments in relation to our water bills in terms of the nominal tax that we pay to cover solid waste and other things we may see. But I don't want to raise false expectations because ultimately holding the tiller firm might be the tone of the budget.
Meanwhile, Professor Robinson is expecting budgetary measures to try and facilitate economic growth to achieve the target of 3 to 4%. But he stresses the importance of that growth and capital projects being driven by the private sector.
If the government capital works program continues to be a major driver, and that is really funded by government borrowing, then we have a potential problem down the road. So I'd be looking for initiatives to incentivize, to spur private sector growth, and especially around that renewable energy area, which had been earmarked as a major growth driver, but has become stalled because of battery storage issues.
Measures to address other hot topics such as health, sick buildings, roads, and sporting facilities are also expected to be addressed in the budget. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
15 boys between the ages of 13 and 16 have been enrolled in a program to help them stay out of the criminal justice system. The Barbados Probation Department has earmarked these boys as having risk factors through some offences that they've committed. The initiative, known as the ASMAN program, which stands for Acquiring Skills Men Actually Need, was very successful in 2019, with none of the previous camp members committing any further offences. Senior Probation Officer Diana Goodridge says an overview of the program is needed.
The aim of the ASMAN program is to address critical risk factors that makes a young offender more likely to reoffend, but it also promotes protective factors that reduces the risk of reoffending. To this end, the program has specifically been designed to incorporate mainly male facilitators. It is a 1-year program starting with 3 weekend sessions and then the 2-week camp. The camp will be followed up with monthly sessions until March 2025.
Chief Probation Officer Denise Agard asked for help from the parents in being able to help these young men during the program and beyond.
One thing I want to remind you parents of, we're in this together. Sometimes you bring your children here because of the behavioral issues. We would probably put them on a curfew, we will speak to them and so on. But you are the person in the home and you have to enforce and work with the probation officer what we ask you to do. If they're given a curfew 6 to 6, 8 o'clock, child is still out, you don't know where they are, you're not even checking. That's not good enough. Work with us. When you have issues, you can call us, contact us, and we will do our best to help you.
The Moravian Church is on a mission to win back the souls of some of its young worshippers who left the congregation during the COVID-19 pandemic. Superintendent Ezra Paris says the church has a plan to focus on youth in the community.
I think that COVID-19 became a time when many youth, began to draw away from the church somewhat, and we are intending to recapture and to further reach out to more of our young people in this nation of Barbados.
Reverend Paris was speaking at the annual general meeting of the Island Conference held at the Sharon Moravian Church. During the event, representatives from the church's 11 congregations reviewed reports and discussed the way forward. Reverend Paris says in an effort to address financial issues, the church is endeavoring to develop some of its properties. The Organization of Caribbean Against Apartheid in Palestine is proposing a boycott of goods from Israel. They recently held a Zoom media conference to discuss how they're proceeding to show solidarity against the war in Gaza. Treasurer of the organization, Suleiman Bulbulia, says stopping the consumption of goods will impact on the money to purchase weapons.
We are calling upon governments to do what is necessary to be done, break ties with the state of Israel. We are calling upon our government to recognize Palestine as they have been committed to, as they have said. And we are calling upon our citizens to start to look at what they purchase, what they consume, what they participate in. We have seen the BDS movement spread across the world and has hurt in the pockets a number of companies that openly support the state of Israel. We have seen them hurt in many parts of the world by persons who have taken the stand to boycott their products.
The Palestinian ambassador to the Caribbean was on the call, and she lamented the fact that Ramadan is on, but the people of Palestine have no food.
Yesterday alone, with the airdrops of food, dozens, and today another over 30 or 40 people are dead, seeking to see from the sky if it's a bomb, or it's a flour bag, or it's a spaghetti dinner. Why do a child have to look to the sky? Not knowing if it's a missile coming from an airplane, or it's a miserable dinner coming on them.
In sports, top Barbados triathlete Matthew Wright is very likely heading to the Paris Olympics. This belief after yesterday's second-place finish in the World Triathlon America's Cup on the mighty Griner Highway. CBC's Mark Seal reports.
That's Matthew Wright going over his game plan in his head ahead of the first leg of the event, the 750-meter swim. The beginning is always bunched with the faster freestylers trying to get ahead of the rippled waters. And at the end of the swim, Wright was in 6th place, coming out of the water in 9 minutes 30 seconds. But that was only 15 seconds behind the leader, Carter Schumacher of the United States. So at this stage, Wright was in a good position. His transition to the bike was issue-free, so it was off to the 20-kilometer circuit ride. This was a main group of 11 that separated themselves from the rest of the field, with Wright at the front at this point. And by the end of this lap, it was now a group of 4, with Wright still the pace setter. They're now to the end of the 20K, and Wright, on the left of your screen, displaying good technique along with Luke Anthony of the US. Wright completing the distance in 29 minutes 32 seconds, and his transition to his running shoes was also efficient. And he's off on the final leg of the triathlon, the 5K run in this warm mid-morning Barbados heat. But from early in the leg, Reese Vanderson of the US showed that running was his strong point, and he took the lead, with Wright still in striking distance. Matthew was only about 10 seconds behind at this stage of the circuit, but the American just looked stronger, even though not more determined, and his superiority would hold out to the end. Looking back, he didn't see Wright as he was no longer in striking distance. Vanderson completing the 5K in 15 minutes 49 seconds, and he won the overall event in 55 minutes 17 seconds. Wright was 41 seconds slower, finishing the run in 16 minutes 30 seconds, with an overall time of 55 minutes 58 seconds. That second place gave Matthew enough points to virtually book his ticket to Paris.
We do think I'm 99.9% qualified. Qualification doesn't close until May 26th, so the official start list will be out on May 27th. But based on the calculations we've done, we do believe that should be enough to stamp that ticket with the second place today. So yeah, couldn't be happier. But overall, I'm happy with how I delivered. I wish we kind of more had a breakaway on the swim and attacking the bike. That's more what my plan was. But you know, a lot of those US boys swam really, really well, and then we ended up with a pack of about 8 or 10 on the bike. And Reese Vanderson, the guy that won, is a super runner, and I knew that, you know, the US boys were going to protect him and work for him to get the win.
So we'll wait for the official Olympic announcement in a couple months. Still though, today was another proud day to be a Barbadian. Well done, Matthew. Mark Seal, CBC Sports.
Congrats, Matthew, indeed. Barbados women got the defense of their regional T20 Blaze title off to a losing start when they went down yesterday to the Leeward Island women by 12 runs. Playing at the Warner Park in St. Kitts, Leewards put 139 for 7 on the board. In their 20 overs, Renice Boyce led with 67. Nijani Cumberbatch was the star with the ball for the Bajans, taking 4 for 9. In reply, however, the Bajan ladies were held to 127 for 5, with Kaishana Knight left unbeaten on an even 50. Of course, you can look out for more highlights during the CBC News Day. And that is our morning news. Remember, stay tuned for Newsday at 12 noon here on TV8, or you can tune in for the world at 1 via our radio network of stations on 100.7 FM, 98.1 The One, and 94.7 FM. We will also be covering the budget presentation today on all of our stations, with the exception of 98.1 The One. Do stay with us. We have lots more to come here on Morning Barbados. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Every day at 7 p.m., we bring you a comprehensive news package because keeping you informed is our #1 priority. Whether it's local, regional, or international stories, our commitment is to you and keeping you reliably informed. Join us every day at 7 p.m. for CBC Newsnight.
The race is on. Who will be victorious in the Dasani Powerade Barbados Secondary Schools Athletics Championships? Stay tuned to find out. Live coverage of the action will be brought to you on this station from March 20th to 22nd. Dasani Powerade BSAC, sponsored by the Student Revolving Loan Fund, Great Health Works, and CG United.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb. From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
School sports is in full swing as the athletes are gearing up for the 2024 Powerade Dasani BSAT Championships. Tune into CBC Sports Night with me, Anmar Goodrich Boyce, this and every Tuesday and Thursday for Athlete in the Spotlight. Sponsored by Powerade. Pause is power, and Dasani. Live first, Dasani after.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Welcome back to Morning Barbados. Joining me around the table now, I have Raquel Davis and Nkosi Mounter-Tate, and I've been fretting them. I told Nkosi that they probably brought some of those showers that we're seeing this morning, but it's great to have both of you with us as we look toward World Meteorological Day 2024 with the theme At the Front Line of Climate Action. So welcome. Good morning.
Hi, thanks for having us here this morning.
Absolutely. So let's start at the beginning, Raquel.
Sure.
What does this theme mean in from the perspective of a meteorologist and in terms of what you do at the Met Office?
Okay, well, it means, we are at the front line at the BMS. We are designated as the focal point for warnings in Barbados. And at the front line of climate action, like what do? We provide the forecast daily. We provide climatological data. And also we have our observing systems, we have our radar, we have our unmanned sea vessels, we have 3D pause stations across the island, which has helped us with recording rainfall and temperature, not only in Charnox, Christchurch, but
the wider part of the island, we can tell you the rainfall accumulations in St. Lucie, St. James at any given time for any given period.
Well, so there have been some advancements in terms of how we treat to the data that is collected and the way the data is collected.
Yes,
Correct.
of course.
Yeah, I heard you agree.
It's a bit more widespread. So initially, when people think of the Met Office, you think of Charnock's Christchurch. However, we collect data from more places, so that helps us then build up the climate database so that then we can give a more accurate forecast. Instead of just using data from a single point in Christchurch, we're now getting data from across the island from these automated weather stations.
Apart from limiting you to Charnock's and Christchurch, we also kind of limit what you do, because I think people often just associate you with the forecast for the day. So let's talk about what you do.
Well, we have, obviously we have other services, like I would have mentioned, the climate services. We work very closely with some other government entities, like we can Barbados Water Authority, for example, and even the Agricultural Society. Then obviously we provide our aviation services to our neighbor, the Grantley Adams International Airport, just to list a few.
Let's talk a little bit about weather and climate change. These are buzzwords that we're hearing a lot more of these days. What does all of that mean in the context of what you do generally?
So weather, as you would have mentioned, the aviation services, weather is basically what you're getting, what's going on at this very moment. Whereas climate is more so what you expect. Climate is usually about a 30-year average of the weather that you're getting on a given island in a given location. So climate change will be long-term changes in the weather patterns, in the stuff that's happening. As you said, it is a buzzword, and obviously you've heard about global warming. So with regard to global warming, yes, you can also expect some drier periods and drought. However, a lot of heating is the source for cloud building and convection. And of course, the bigger the clouds, the more rainfall you can get, the higher the flood events will be, right? The more rain and the more flooding you will get. So with regard to that, we are currently investigating and currently looking at how that is changing over time, because the potential for more severe weather events and severe weather events happening more often is existing, basically, if you keep getting that increase in temperatures.
I know that you mentioned, Raquel, about working along with the Barbados Agricultural Society and maybe the Ministry of Agriculture and so on. And a few years ago, I had occasion to do some research on what countries around the world are doing in terms of agriculture and bringing technology and predicting weather systems and so on to be able to plan what they're planting and when they're planting and so on. So let's talk about those interactions, those engagements, and how important they are to wider society.
Yes. So last year we would have introduced our outreach programs, where we have like a series of panel discussions where we would have hosted some of those entities on the panel discussion with us, and the wider public was invited. They were also aired online, and that was very interesting, provided a lot of information to those persons, and then obviously the wider Barbadian public. Also too, we would have had, different outreach schemes that we are trying to do across the board.
All right, and Kosi, what about you? What are some of the areas of collaboration that intrigue you most as a meteorologist?
The areas of collaboration that intrigue me is pretty much stuff like this, or getting into schools, or of course the open day that the World Meteorological Day, and our activities. So I think the best thing for us to do right now would be to inform the public and just keep them up to date and make sure that they pretty much understand what it is that we're trying to communicate to them in the best way possible.
I think they sent two of the youngest people in the department only because the Met Office has been getting a lot of licks through the years. We are sisters in that regard because we get a lot of licks at CBC too, so we understand. But through the years, people are like, oh, I don't even know if I should listen. So sometimes you hear it's going to rain, but it doesn't rain. Or we say there's a weather system coming, and people expect that things will blow away and it will be horrible. So, Bajans, last minute, they go and buy all the canned foods, buy everything that Carter's has to offer next door, and get all the batteries and stuff like that. And then they say, nothing happened. And it's almost like they're upset. Yes, but we know that meteorology isn't an exact science. So let's talk a bit about that.
So basically, this would be a good point to talk about our impact-based forecasting. and that color coding system that you would have seen on the website or on our social media pages. So in an attempt to prevent all that last minute shopping and stuff, as you're saying, what we try to do is just to have that system, right, based on the severity of the event that we're expecting. So green means that there's no significant weather that you are expecting across the island for those 5 parameters, those meteorological parameters that we forecast for: the rainfall, the seas, the dust haze, and the severe thunderstorms. And when you get to yellow now, that is basically be aware. We want the public to be aware of this potential event. There are no watches or warnings out at this point. We may put out an information statement, as I said, just to help the public better understand what it is that is coming and to better communicate that information. Then when you get to orange now, this is be prepared, right? This threat is more than likely going to be severe, and it's more than likely going to affect the island. And then red, take action. This is when you need to have that preparedness. You need to have basically your safety measures, your emergency supplies and whatnot in place, because this severe activity is more than likely going to affect the island. That is when we have the highest confidence that there is going to be a severe weather event across the island.
All right, well, tell you what, I'm going to have a sip of my coffee, and we're going to come back and talk some more about these weather systems. Maybe they can tell me why the sun is shining so brightly. No, I'm being bad this morning. Pay me no attention. But coming up, we're going to talk more about what's happening on World Meteorologist Day. That's coming up 2024. The theme is at the front line of climate action. So we're going to get into those forecasts and how you can stay on top of all that's happening at the Met Office. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Every night, we bring you a complete look at the weather forecast, because keeping you safe and informed is our top priority. The CBC Weather Report, brought to you by Ace H&B Hardware, the helpful hardware.
Morning Barbados is on the move, and we're coming to you every weekday morning from right here at the Standard Showroom in Wildey. Now, together, we're giving you an opportunity to win. All you have to do is submit a photo of that room that you want to see changed in a fantastic way. And the interior design curator here at Standard and all of their experts are going to get together and select the room that needs the most work. It just might be yours. All you have to do is submit your photo to info@standard.bb, and you could be here with us saying, "Morning Barbados, look at my beautiful space."
Morning to you.
Tune in to CBC Newsnight for the NISS Business Report, a comprehensive look at the local, regional, and international business world every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday during CBC Newsnight. Brought to you by the National Insurance and Social Security Service. More than a contribution, it's your lifeline.
Every day at 7 p.m., we bring you a comprehensive news package, because keeping you informed is our #1 priority. Whether it's local, regional, or international stories, our commitment is to you and keeping you reliably informed. Join us every day at 7 p.m. for CBC Newsnight.
The race is on. Who will be victorious in the Dasani Powerade Barbados Secondary Schools Athletics Championships? Stay tuned to find out. Live coverage of the action will be brought to you on this station from March 20th to 22nd. Dasani Powerade BSAC, sponsored by the Student Revolving Loan Fund, Great Health Works, and CG United.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
All right, welcome back to Morning Barbados on this beautiful Monday. Great sunshine, good weather outside, and it's wonderful that we can share how beautiful our island is. Of course, you can mostly see the vehicles passing behind us here in the Wildey area, so a special good morning to those of you working in this area. I know it's usually very, very busy, so I hope you get to work on time. We wouldn't want you to get in any trouble, all right? Get to work on time today. So we're still with Raquel Davis and Nkosi Mounter Tate. Thank you so much for taking some time out from your busy schedules to come and share with us around the table a little bit more about meteorology. And this is one of these things that people don't necessarily consider how where the rubber meets the road, so how it impacts us literally. Even in the way that the weather was delivered in the past, it was kind of, full of a lot of jargon, and people didn't necessarily understand. So Raquel, let's talk a little bit about the changes that came about so that people kind of understand how the weather will impact them, as opposed to saying what's happening. I'm still trying to figure out what's an intertropical convergence zone. I mean, these are just things that are kind of stuck in my head from hearing them every day.
Yes, yes. So basically back in 2020, in June, we would have done our transition, which my colleague mentioned before. We're now doing the impact-based forecasting. And it basically explains it in the name, instead of in the past when we would have said fair to partly cloudy with a few isolated showers. We're not giving you that color-coded, we weren't giving you that color-coded system then, but we're giving you now. So now we're telling you the same weather, but what it will do. And as my colleague mentioned, Mr. Mountatate, we have those 5 hazards that we forecast for, and we use the color-based system now. So we try to push that a lot. So when you see green, you know there's no action. And then when you see red, take action because there's something severe coming or is already occurring.
Of course, you're very engaged with the public as well. So you don't have to wait any longer for social media or for mainstream media to put your notices out and so on. They're readily available online. Talk about the thrust to be able to engage directly with the public as well.
Again, yes, the whole advent of social media has been very helpful. It means that we can reach more people, we can reach them more easily, and don't necessarily have to rely on the radio stations and the television stations. Of course, they're still involved, and of course, they're still greatly helpful in getting our message out there. But especially for, say, a younger audience who might not engage with television and radio in the same way, it is being very helpful to get that social media going.
Blasphemy, I say. I'm kidding. Yeah, but I totally understand what you're saying. People who kind of are in the now, they need it now, and that's a positive. So we in the media too, we've moved to the place where we are no longer, because I think for a long time we treated the social media as it was competition. Now we understand how that can augment what we do, and that's important in being able to deliver accurate information in a timely manner. So, we work together on those things. Let's look a little bit about at the hurricane season. We know it gets started officially at a set time and it ends at a set time. But over the years, we've been seeing things change up just a little bit. So let's talk about this particular hurricane season. Will it be very active?
So the official forecast for the hurricane season has not been released by NHC, that's the National Hurricane Center. However, you are still seeing higher sea surface temperatures in the Atlantic. Also, we expect this to be a La Nina year. Now that relates to something in the Pacific Ocean. However, the atmosphere itself is connected. So changes in sea surface temperatures there can affect us here in the Caribbean. So because of those two factors, we are expecting a bit more cloud development and a bit more activity during this hurricane season.
Well, I seem to remember we were affected by La Nina last year as well, and we had some pretty warm temperatures in Barbados. I know you said that the National Hurricane Center hasn't released the official information as well, but can you tell us anything about what we can expect going later into the year, about maybe what we can expect temperature-wise? I seem to remember or feel like last year, for some reason, there was a lot of rain. It felt to me like, because usually we have rain in Barbados, you might have rain on 1 or 2 days, but I felt as though rain was going on for several days, and that's nothing that I can remember experiencing on an ongoing basis.
Correct. So I don't know if last year you remembered we would have recorded our record-breaking temperature at the airport. We had 34.2 degrees Celsius. That was recorded on the 30th of September. And yes, we're still in a warmer environment. We're concerned about that going into March and into April. The climate section, they're actually monitoring that. But going into the hurricane season, we expect a transition to the La Nina, and that should help, but right now we're focusing on those high temperatures that we're experiencing. And so far for the year, we've actually been recording higher than normal temperatures.
All right, a combination of all these things that are happening, the La Nina, of course, we have the Sahara dust that's kind of adding to what's happening. When these systems converge, does it make a difference in terms of what we experience, what we feel in the environment?
So there are a variety of factors that influence the weather. So depending on the strength of those individual factors, the time at which those factors become involved with one another, yes, that can cause an enhancement or a suppression of the features as they affect the island.
And I know for people like me who have perennial issues with sinusitis and allergies and so on, this can be a particularly difficult time as well. I know that in the US and in other places of the world, they issue, for example, a pollen forecast. So, what are some of the other unconventional ways that you're looking at under this new impact-based forecast system that kind of makes it a whole lot easier for people to understand how the weather will impact them?
So with the same impact-based forecasting with the Saharan dust, for example, as you mentioned, normally when we expect a severe plume or obviously a significant plume that would affect certain persons, we would elevate that forecast to yellow, which would be telling persons to be aware. If we need to do up the forecast a bit, we would go to the orange, where we would do the be prepared, and that's what our orange would mean. So we're just asking persons to, focus and zero in on our forecast a little bit more, and, pay attention to our official channels, our social media platform, our website, and also we have a hotline that you can call at any time. So those are the ways that we try to get out the information and, try to be concurrent and up to date. And we do update those 3 times daily at 6 a.m., 12 noon, and 6 p.m.
Okay, tell us how you're going to commemorate World Mac Day 2024.
Okay, so we've already actually started with some of our activities. Some of these activities took place yesterday. There was the hike from Bathsheba?
Bath,
Bath. It began and ended at Bath. Yeah. So there was that hike yesterday. I unfortunately was not able to attend, as you can tell. Going forward now, we have the poster competition, the school poster competition for students aged 7 to 10. You can deliver your entries to the BMS at Charnock's Christchurch. Today is unfortunately the deadline, but as we're a 24-hour office, you have quite a bit of time left for today. And after that, we have the expo. Basically, you can come and get answers to all these questions you've been asking and more, and actually get that peek behind the curtain and see what it is that really goes into our climate monitoring and climate forecasting. So that's starting at 10 on March 23rd. That is World Met Day globally. Also, there is the scavenger hunt, which Ms. Davis will tell you about.
Yes, we also have a scavenger hunt. It is starting at the office as well, and it begins at 11 a.m. And we are just asking persons to come out, have fun while learning about weather and meteorology. And we have a maximum persons of 5 persons per group, and it's going to be a drive-in one. You have to drive around different locations across the island using our clues and scavenging items. And we're just asking persons to come out and have fun, bring family and friends, and we have some prizes and surprises for those coming first through third place.
All right, so I have a question for you guys before you go. Why did the weather report go to therapy? You don't know? Because it had too many high pressure systems and couldn't handle the stress. How about that? I mean, high pressure systems gonna come on. I want to thank you, Raquel, for coming in. I'm not sure about Ekozi. He called my joke terrible. Ekozi Mounter Tate and Raquel Davis, meteorologist, sharing with us this morning. And we're going to take you up on that offer to kind of pull the curtain back and find out a little bit more about the Met services and all that you do. So big celebrations. The official day is March 23rd. Make sure you stay tuned to find out more. And guys, do come back, all right?
Yes, of course.
You will, right? Yes. I mean, like, the joke didn't ruin it for us.
Once you invite me, I'll be here, don't worry.
Yeah, the joke didn't ruin it for us, right?
No,
it didn't ruin it.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that coffee. I made it myself as well.
Thank you. It was excellent.
Thank you. And we're going to take another break and come back on Morning Barbados. Do stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb. From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
School sports is in full swing as the athletes are gearing up for the 2024 Powerade Dasani BSAT Championships. Tune into CBC Sports Night with me, Anmar Goodrich Boyce, this and every Tuesday and Thursday for Athlete in the Spotlight. Sponsored by Powerade. Pause is power, and Dasani. Live first, Dasani after.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Welcome back. It's just about 15 minutes to go with today's show. Certainly hope you're having a good time. Remember, if there's anything you'd like to see on Morning Barbados, or if there's something you want to share with us, send us an email, morningbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. Because you know, as Bajans, we say morning. We don't necessarily put the G on. So you can reach us that way, or you can give us a call. We're always open. Of course, you can find us online, wherever you can go on social media. We are there as well. So it's time for us now to meet up with Chris Enrico Suave Sinhill. He's an author and poet, and he's going to be a part of World Poetry Day, big poetry edition, poetry, the event. So he's coming to share a little bit more with us. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you.
Of course, I prefer to call you Suave.
Yes.
I think it's the medication I took today for my hoarse throat that has me behaving badly, but I think that's a-okay. So you've been involved with poetry and performing for a little while now. Tell me about your entry into maybe writing and presenting on stage.
Yes, please. So it really started from church, really. I would have been doing a bit of singing, a bit of rapping as well when I was much, much younger, but then I found it easier and more relatable to switch to poetry, to really get the word and my message out. And at the time it started as just a hobby, but I realized over time that a lot of my friends, a lot of my family, even strangers would have resonated with a lot of my poetry, and that's what helped me to go through to this point, and also to write my book, which I have here for you as well.
Before we get to the book,
yes,
how difficult or how easy was it for you to kind of decide, I'm going to go full hog with this. I'm going to move past this, but just being a pastime, because it's what I want to do generally, career-wise.
Yeah, so it was difficult initially until I was able to surround myself with the right people, former and current poets. We're talking Stone with Cupid, Lashana, Dio the Poet, many other poets as well. We were also talking Sanra and Ruby Tech, who will also be there on the day of the event on Thursday, March the 21st as well. So it was quite easy to transition from there.
Now to having works that you can share with us, tangible works. So you have a book of poems, is it?
Yes, indeed. This book is my autobiography in a sense. It's called This Is I, My Mistakes Are My Learning Trends, which is a slogan that I go by. And it speaks of things that I would have went through, also things that my friends would have went through that they weren't able to project out as well. So I'm basically like a voice for the voiceless as well.
And I'm told that you love all things art.
Indeed.
What does that mean?
I love all things art as it relates to not just poetry, but I'm talking singing, I'm talking dance, I'm talking creative arts, whatever you name, paintings as well. Whatever relates to art, I love it.
Are you engaging with all of these things? Are you enjoying them? Or are you dancing and singing and painting? And
Unfortunately, I have two left feet when it comes to that.
We're related, man. We're related.
But no, I like to dibble and dabble with different things as well. I do a bit of paint and sip sometimes. So I like to make sure to put my feet into as many artistic things as possible.
All right, talk to me about how you got involved with all of these names that we've come to know, Lashana, and of course Ruby Tech, and those guys who've been involved for quite some time. Tell me about the meeting of the minds.
So that would have happened through COVID times actually. I would have reached out to one of my very dear friends, Right Minister, Kioma Mallet. That would have been through Oh My Words IG Live. And I have reached out to him, and then since then I was a co-host on that same live, and I was able to meet poets from here in Barbados, but also regionally and internationally. So that's how we were all able to meet and link up as one.
That's beautiful. So you're not necessarily based here right now.
Right now, no.
But you're here sharing with us nonetheless. So we're lucky to have you for World Poetry Day. Talk to me about what you're looking forward to most for this celebration, because as I mentioned to the guys when they were here last week, we haven't always celebrated World Poetry Day in the way that we are now. We heard the Kawanis. They have a competition to celebrate. We heard the Department of Humanities of the University of the West Indies also here this morning, and they too talked about how they're celebrating. And now we have a massive celebration in the event Poetry that's coming off over at Cricket Legends on the day of celebrating. You know, so what does it feel like to be able to celebrate in this way? It must feel like a true validation of your feelings and where you wanted to go with making it, you know, your career choice.
So yes, I am very much looking forward to just the atmosphere, to be able to not only have myself, but all of the other amazing poets, amazing artists on stage to perform and make sure that everyone understands what World Poetry Day means and represents, as well as poetry in general. It's just one day that we're celebrating, but it's a 365-day kind of event, so to speak. And we put our heart and soul into our artistry each and every day. As you would have seen last week and as you would see on Thursday, we really speak volumes in many different ways, in many different areas, many different aspects of poetry. And that's what Poetry Barbados is all about.
Beautiful. Now, talk to me about your process of writing. Do you prefer to write a certain type, a certain genre? You know, how does it work for you?
Well, I like to speak on many different areas. As it states in my book, I speak on heartbreak, I speak on love, I speak on being able to overcome obstacles. I speak on Black oppression as well, which is something that really I hold dear to my heart.
This is I, my mistakes are my learning trends. And you said this is something that you live by. So let's delve into what's between the pages of this book a little more.
Yes, please, most definitely. So within the book, I have subsections, okay? And the first poem that I wrote was actually related to my grandfather, my late grandfather. I'm not going to read that one today. It's a bit heartbreaking for me. But that one would be called Daz. That's his nickname, essentially. So he was one that was a vessel for not only myself, mainly my cousins as well. We would have grown up from the time we left our mother's womb straight up to this point. Everything that he taught us, we took with us each and every day. We also have talking about conflict and emotions. We have love as well, and then we have reflections. You're always in a reflective state. something may have happened in your lifetime that would have brought you to the point that you are at now. And they had one piece actually that I was back and forth with, if to share with you guys today. But I think I'm going to read that one. This one is actually from page 38 in my book. And this one will be for you as well.
Thank you.
I do hope that you enjoy it.
I absolutely will.
Yes, please. The name of the poem is called Faithful Lies. And just to dive in a little bit about it, basically, I would have been going through a tough time related to a former girlfriend of mine. And it made me feel a type of way. So I just wanted to express myself the best way that I can, which is through poetry, of course.
How does it feel to share, you know, what's happening with your life, your intimate feelings and so on? Putting it down on pages is one thing, but to feel like people, you know, kind of are all your business.
Yeah.
You know, was that a process too, to be able to share openly?
Yeah, it was a process. You wonder sometimes, are people going to relate, or are they just going to judge you for what you're putting out there and how serious and how personal it is to you? But then at the same time, you have that other half of people where they're like, I feel exactly how you feel. Thank you, because I couldn't write it myself. I couldn't talk and speak on it myself. So thank you for these pieces. Thank you for this poetry. Thank you for these words.
All right, beautiful. Well, we're going to eat up Faithful Lies from you, Chris Enrico Suave, St. Hill.
Yes, please. So here it goes. Don't introduce me to a vibe that you know you can't maintain. Don't invite me in, then have me feeling like I'm the one that's going insane. Thinking it's love on the brain, pain seen through the tears that I've rained for you. And no rain can shelter me from what you have put me through. I threw my heart your way only for you to do what you said you wouldn't do. But I fell for your lies. I thought you were the robin in disguise, but you were the rob in disguise. So you have my head at mine. Now, because I've forgotten the words, I'm going to start it over for you because I have so many poems.
That's okay, I have it right here for you.
No worries. No, I have you covered. That's yours to keep. That's yours to keep.
37.
37, I got you.
We're going to go from the top.
Yes, please. Don't introduce me to a vibe that you know you aren't going to maintain. Don't invite me in, then have me feeling like I'm the one that's going insane. Thinking it's love on the brain, pain seen through the tears that I've rained for you. And no umbrella can shelter me from what you have put me through. Threw my heart your way only for you to do what you said you wouldn't do. But I saw behind your eyes. Never expected you to be Rob in disguise. I thought you were the Robin in disguise that flew in my mind. But it was just lies. So why owe you this pensive pen work when it was sift through? It's so my cursive blaze ink can sink deep within you. And I'm not talking deep within you to think. I'm talking deep within you. Please think. Don't you remember when our minds once upon a time were in sync? Now you're gone on your solo mission, but what comes around goes around. That's why I didn't cry you a river. Instead, I looked in the mirror and found all of that I have lost. It's that I'm worth an on-earth vibe birthed within the dirt that will grow over time. Not to overshine nor undermine, but as so peace of mind when I'm with mine. But until that time, I will be fine. I hope your grass is greener on the other side. After all, I guess I was just a guest of your faithful lies. And that was the piece.
All right, good stuff.
Thank you.
I love it. Enrico Suave, My Mistakes Are My Learning Trends. This is his book. Where can we pick it up?
You can pick it up from myself, or especially you can find it on Amazon.
All right, I definitely will be reading through all of these poems. And a lot of it seems like, you know, a lot of emotion in here.
There's a lot of emotion.
That's what I love. Yeah, good stuff. Looking really good. But of course, you can find him as a part of the lineup for poetry coming up to celebrate World Poetry Day. That's coming up this Wednesday, so come out and support the guys.
Thursday.
Thank you. On Thursday, sorry.
Yes, please, no worries.
So thank you, and thanks for the book as well.
You're most welcome.
I wish you all the best as
it.
you move forward and continue to share. Hey, well, that's it from us. I mean, the time has gone by so quickly. We really wanted to share about road tennis and how is all over the place. So we're going to see if we have enough time to do that. Otherwise, we'll share tomorrow. So stay with us. We're going to take a break and come back and wrap up today's show. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Every night, we bring you a complete look at the weather forecast because keeping you safe and informed is our top priority. The CBC Weather Report, brought to you by Ace H&B Hardware, the helpful hardware.
Morning Barbados is on the move, and we're coming to you every weekday morning from right here at the Standard Showroom in Wildey. Now, together, we're giving you an opportunity to win. All you have to do is submit a photo of that room that you want to see changed in a fantastic way. And the interior design curator here at Standard and all of their experts are going to get together and select the room that needs the most work. It just might be yours. All you have to do is submit your photo to info@standard.bb, and you could be here with us saying, "Morning Barbados, look at my beautiful space."
Tune in to CBC Newsnight for the NISS Business Report, a comprehensive look at the local, regional, and international business world every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday during CBC Newsnight. Brought to you by the National Insurance and Social Security Service. More than a contribution, it's your lifeline.
Every day at 7 p.m., we bring you a comprehensive news package because keeping you informed is our number one priority. Whether it's local, regional, or international stories, our commitment is...
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
All right, so we have a feel-good story to share with you. CEO of Gauntless Road Tennis, Ron Kelman, a Barbadian from St. Joseph, who is now a resident of Aurora, is in the York region in Ontario. And he's confirmed that they've received the green light from the York Regional School Board to have road tennis as a part of their curriculum. How about that? We heard the minister just last week talking about moving toward road tennis as a sport at the Olympics. Let's check this out.
To find out how it works. Today we have our very first ever road tennis day with the police. Road tennis is an indigenous sport to Barbados, a combination of tennis and table tennis. Unlike tennis and pickleball, there's no volley in road tennis, so it has to bounce on your side first, goes over, bounces, and comes back on the bounce. So that's really the major difference. And if you're playing doubles, you hit the ball first, and then you get out of the way so your partner goes. So you're always alternating.
It is a priority of ours to make sure that we are out in the community, that we're forward-facing, and that we very much engage with people of all ages, but in particular here today with our youth. We want them to see us outside of our uniforms and have them know and understand that we are regular people just like anyone else, so this is a very important day for us.
York Regional Police always has to find innovative ways to outreach and engage with the community. When Ron Kelman approached our service and had the introduction to the sport, I right away thought this is a very innovative way to get that engagement portion and to make sure that the community knows that we are the community as well.
Good stuff. Of course, we're enjoying tennis, road tennis all across the world, and that augurs well for us here in Barbados. Before we go, we have to say a special happy birthday to a member of our team, Ryan Kennedy. It's his birthday today, and we were celebrating a little bit earlier. Happy birthday to you, Ryan, one of our engineers, you know, very, very committed and always ready and up to the task. Coming up tomorrow on Morning Barbados, conversations on CARICOM, and we're going to talk more about Humanities and Education Department at the University of the West Indies, and a whole lot more. Hey, remember to wear your smiles, do something good for somebody, and come on back to us tomorrow. We'll be back here live from the Standard Showroom in Wildey.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning, Barbados, good morning.